Hello and welcome back to Raise Your Vibes. This is your host Miriam Khan. Today's podcast is quite an important one. This is all about reflection. Reflection! Coming to the end of 2021, guys, and we're soon going to be facing 2022. And it's been quite an eye-opener of a year. I'm sure for many of us, it's been quite an interesting year. Some of us go into the new year not really looking back, not really reflecting, but we need to. Sometimes we need to have that little stance where we do that self-reflection and reflection on many, many aspects of our lives when we look back. So let's look at some of the things that we need to look at. Let's go back to January 2021. Obviously, none of us sort of predicted that the COVID virus was going to continue in our lives. Some of us thought maybe it will go away, it will vanish, it will disappear. Some of us, perhaps with fear, and quite understandably so, seeing the projection of what was going to happen continue. And obviously it's been a shake-up, wake-up kind of year. That has impacted greatly on our lives, and unfortunately as we enter 2022, it continues to do so. It looks like it's not going to go away. And that has a huge impact on all of us. On all of us, whether financially, physically, mentally, spiritually. It's going to have a massive impact because it's had ramifications all the way through everything. And let's hope that 2022 has less, people that we lose, less people that we've lost. And let's hope that we find some remedy for that particular aspect that unfortunately is taking over all of our lives. On another aspect, think about your own life and how 2021 started. We start off with a circle of friends, a circle of people in our lives. And unfortunately in 2021, I found, quite similarly to quite a lot of close friends, some friendships really did have to end. Sometimes we have maybe 20, 30, 40, maybe more, very, very close friends. Personally, for me, I have a small number that I would call close friends. And throughout the years, that's changed. As their life situations have changed, so have mine. As my needs and my wants and my growths have changed, so have theirs. And sometimes you do have to go separate ways, go separate paths, and start to sort of look at situations and think, this friendship has dissolved now. It no longer is needed in my life, and I wish that person the best, I wish them well, but this isn't for me anymore. And unfortunately, sometimes you have the opposite. You'll have someone that you thought was your everything, was your close friend, somebody that supported you, somebody that really was loyal, and somebody that you thought was going to be around for a while, and somebody that you thought was going to be there with you through the tough times in life, especially with some of the challenges that 2021 brought. And unfortunately, this is where we have that shake up, wake up and make up, I guess, or break up, because we realise that that person no longer resonates with us anymore. And unfortunately, something has to go, something has to give. And even if you've put barriers in place, even if you've tried really hard to establish boundaries with this person and explain that, this is no longer resonating with you anymore, that trajectory of hurt and pain and, disillusionment, unfortunately, it does continue. And it gets to a stage where you or the other person has to have that, grown-up conversation or grown-up wake-up call of this is no longer, beneficial to me or beneficial to you, and this friendship has to end. I have to say goodbye. I definitely had that this year. There were several people that had come into my life, and some of them were there to teach me a lesson and so on, and it was something definitely I ended up walking away from. And as painful as it is, as heartbreaking as it is, some friendships, even if you've had them for 5, 6 years, 10 years, some sadly don't last. And it's best to be honest, and it's best to be, be painfully truthful with the other person and explain the reasons. And, and sometimes you get to a situation where you might have to return certain things, certain items, certain possessions, certain things that the two of you have shared, or whatever it is, out of respect, out of dignity, out of pride, not arrogance, but you're doing it because those things no longer resonate with you. You don't want the energy around you anymore. So that's one aspect of friendship. Then there's another beautiful side of friendship that I definitely saw in 2021, where you'll have people that you just didn't expect to be someone that becomes very, very important to you. And you don't realize that this person, or people, I guess, are holding you down, giving you strength, giving you perseverance, giving you joy, giving you the reason to smile again, giving you the reason to be happy again. And they're helping you through a very, very difficult time, whereas other people have walked away. Other people haven't understood your journey. Other people haven't understood the pain, the trauma that you're going through. And they've stood by you thick and thin. And it's those friends that have become this soft cushion. And you end up putting them on a pedestal, understandably, because their love, their support, their guidance has been something that's helped you through very, very difficult times. For me personally, that was my divorce this year. And, if it wasn't for those close individuals, I don't think I'd have got through, despite how strong and resilient I am, and despite how much I have this sense of humour and I have this wicked personality. Sometimes also strong people, need other people around them too. They need that cushion, they need that love, they need that encouragement, they need that support. So blessings, hugs, and much love to those people that came into our lives that perhaps, similar to what I've just said, resonate with you. Throughout the year, there's also been individuals who I've helped and I've supported and I've guided. And each time when those individuals presented themselves to me, I looked at it spiritually and thought, I'm only going to be there helping them and supporting them for a short space of time. Something tells me this is not permanent. But also those individuals that I spent quite a lot of time helping them to heal, helping them to get over something very traumatic, helping them to release old pain and old wounds and trauma. And I was helping counsel them as well. And it got to a stage where I ended up walking away from these individuals because, you get to a point where you realise they want to continue with their cycles of trauma. And they're a mirror reflection of where you used to be and where you are right now. And that's an important part of reflection. Looking at the people around you and resonating of, is this person reminding me of my old self, my prior self, or my present self? And that's the thing that you have to learn. And sometimes you have to walk away from that individual. You have to end that, friendship, even though you're doing it from a place of love to help them to heal. We're not in a stage of fixing anymore. We're in a stage of recognizing within others their broken parts of themselves and recognizing, look, this is where I can help you to. And then the rest of the journey across the bridge to the other side is something you have to do yourself. Now, if people aren't willing to work on that, if people aren't willing to persevere and willing to go ahead with that, that's out of your control. You can only do so much. Like I said in a prior podcast, we're not here to do the fixer-upper stage, because we have to work within. We have to work within healing ourselves first before we help anyone else. And sadly, that's a mistake a lot of us make for a long time. Correct? Now, other aspects of your journey is learning the value of your voice. Now, I'm very vocal and I will put people in their place, and I am exceptionally direct sometimes to the point where I'm blunt. And it can be hurtful to people that don't recognize it. Now, there are times when I will hold my breath, there's times when I've held back, and there's times when I'm blunt and I'm direct where it needs to be. And this year definitely taught me the importance, although I already knew this, but the importance of speaking your truth and the importance of standing your ground and the importance of being someone that stands in your own light. There are going to be injustices, sadly, around the world. And some of these injustices are thrown in our face many, many times. And we can't walk away from it. We can't stay silent. We can't let somebody treat us with less dignity, with less pride and arrogance, or in a chauvinistic manner. You know, this year definitely we saw the ego in many, many scenarios, in many situations, trying very hard to manipulate and control and persevere and take over certain aspects of not just one person's life, but many. And, you know, it's only when we stand back and we do tower moments and we do self-analysis and self-reflection and look at our deep inner wounds, you know, that we realize some of these people are, you know, mirroring what's going on in our bigger world, in our bigger picture. And they're things that we have to learn from too, you know. And standing up for yourself, standing up and facing your truth, and standing up and resonating what you really, really deeply feel, as much as it can be quite horrible to someone else, maybe, you know, that you've spoke your truth. But the point is, you resonate those words, you let them release from your throat chakra, and you allow yourself to be free and to be humble and to say words with dignity. We're not saying go and have a slanging match or a ding dong. Don't get me wrong, there are times when that might need to happen, when you have to put someone in your place because that's the only language they understand. But there are times when you can speak with dignity and open up your throat chakra without having to use vituperative language. Okay? So, throat chakra is an important access and alignment because it allows you to be you. It allows you to voice up all the fears you have. It allows you also, as I realised more so, when you are speaking up for your injustice and the things happening around you, believe it or not, it's got ramifications for others afterwards. I definitely realised how much of a lioness I was this year and how fearless I was. And that can be quite dangerous in some respects, especially when you're around egotistical energy, as I said. Let's look at other aspects of reflection that some of us can relate to. When some chapters close, and even though they are chapters that you are desperate to close in your life, they are taking a long ass time to close. There is part of a spiritual journey that we have to look at, and it's called the karmic. And we have to look at why that karmic energy is taking that long to clear out of our lives, why it's taking that long to clear finally. Why is it that it's not clearing as quickly as we want it to? Well, part of it is that we've been taught patience, and part of it is we've been taught to understand our journey and to understand that things take necessary time. And also there's still parts of us that are triggering karmic to still stay in our lives. You know, there's unfinished business between you and this other person. That was definitely me and my ex-husband. You know, it became very, very difficult to leave that marriage. Not because I didn't want to leave, but physically, mentally, spiritually, kinetically, and karmically, there was old ties that were being broken. And, you know, the other individual resisted. Understandably, my ex-partner made it very, very difficult to leave that marriage. And you have to look at your karmic ties. You have to look at this aspect of him and you that's not letting you go, that's not letting you untangle. So what was the spiritual connection? What was the karmic energy? Even if you've released yourself, even if you worked on letting go and, you know, you let it go and surrender. And that's the next point that I'm coming to. That 2021 has definitely been a year of surrender. You know, that's been one of the hardest lessons I've had to learn this year. And I'm still not a master of that. I'm still trying really hard to conquer that one. But surrendering is one huge lesson. And you think you get to a stage where you understand what it is to surrender, and then you're taught a little bit more. So let's look at this. What do I mean by surrendering? Surrendering could be surrendering your ego, surrendering your pain, surrendering without resolution, surrendering finances, surrendering love, surrendering the journey, surrendering control, surrendering all aspects of you, your personality, your warmth, your joy, surrendering your home, surrendering your stability, surrendering friends, surrendering loved ones. It's got so many different aspects to this particular aspect, And the big one for me was the control, because you're trying very, very hard to steer things in a particular direction and steer things in a particular way. And you realize that, you're not the one in control. God is, spirituality is, the creator is. You are trying very hard to steer things in the direction you want them to be, in the way you want them to be. And it can be as frustrating as hell when you get roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, and things will not go the way you want them to go. And that's a sign of, it's not the right time yet. You're trying very hard to release yourself of these burdens. You're trying really hard to release yourself of, whatever connection it was that you had with this other individual. I'm sure many of us can relate from different personal aspects we've had this year. But it's not always easy to surrender. And also, when you're surrendering part of that journey, it comes back to your own ego, because your ego wants to control. Your ego wants you to charge forward and say, nope, I want this thing in my life. Nope, I want this person or individual in my life. I want this, I want that. And that's where the surrendering is damn hard. Because, you try really hard not to be triggered by it. But unfortunately, it does take over, And this is where your emotions and your feelings also come in and come into this equation of surrendering. Sometimes there are going to be things, definitely in 2021, things definitely got intense at certain times of the year. With certain moon phases, definitely for sure. Certain scenarios, certain things we all faced were intense. And as 2022 sort of coming to a calmer sort of state of mind, we can see this is actually going to be hopefully a little bit easier, a bit more grounding work needs to be done, but we can go forward with grace and with some sort of calmness instead of, this sort of upheaval that's happened. Another important aspect of 2021 has definitely been rest. Many of us have faced lots and lots of battles in regards to the ego and in regards to surrendering. As I've said, when you learn to surrender and when you learn to let go, like I said, that's a damn hard journey. You have to learn to rest. You have to stop being in the fighting ring. You have to stop challenging yourself and this other individual and just rest. And again, that means finding peace, peace within, peace without, meditating, finding different ways of meditating from one person to another can be different. It could be that we do yoga. It could be that we do the different chakras, different alignments. We do theatre healing. We do all aspects of yoga. Maybe we are just meditating for the sake of meditating, prayer, whatever your aspect is. The main thing is you are looking at that part of yourself where you are trying to find internal peace. And that comes with rest, and that comes with letting go. And half of the time, those challenges, that suppression, that ego, that anxiety, and also this, need to control or want or to be in charge of this other person. You have to understand that this other individual also has free will. That's another aspect of 2021 that perhaps some of us have had to learn. That no matter how much we care for someone and we want them in our lives, or we, crave for them to be in our lives, that nothing is going to happen without this essence of free will. And at times we have to recognize that, we have to understand that, and we have to respect that. That's not an easy thing sometimes for us to do, because the ego gets involved and the ego tries to control, and the ego tries to dictate what we should or shouldn't be doing in that particular situation. And that's why I said to you that surrendering can be quite hard. 2021 also probably brought about new aspects of ourselves that we didn't know were there, aspects of ourselves that perhaps we encouraged ourselves to face, or aspects of ourselves we sort of neglected, and we decided to work on that journey of self-healing, And maybe looking at aspects of ourselves where we've surrendered our dreams, our visions, our goals, and we've sacrificed as well, you know. As I said to you, coming out of a very difficult marriage, you let go of things that were important to you once upon a time ago. And you reflect and you look at it and think to yourself, this is something I need to work on for me. This is something I want to give my energy and give my time to because I let it go. And the person I disappointed was me. We can, blame the other individual as much as we want, but actually it comes down to us, and it comes down to our energy and our time, and realizing that it's us that needs to step back and it's us that need to change. And that's not an easy journey either. When we do that aspect of reflection, that's where we sort of learn and that's where we grow. But it's not always easy to understand that. So when we look at aspects of ourselves that we need to work on, we sort of work on those dreams, we work on those ambitions, we work on, making sure that we are soldiering through, especially through very, very difficult traumatic times that not everybody will understand. And with that comes pain, and purging and healing and releasing. And that's the aspect as well that many of us, if we look back on 2021, you'll have aspects of that yourself, where you've let go of things that are no longer a part of your life anymore. And unfortunately, as the year ends, there are triggers. There are going to be things that people say unknowingly, unwittingly, that will cause a little bit of, friction for you, or a bit of hurt or pain for you, as a memory is triggered, And people will say innocently, but the point is, it's just looking at where you still need to heal within yourself, because that, again, is something that is part of your journey, and that's something that you have to face going on forward. When we look at, different aspects of ourselves that we've tried to grow, that we've tried to heal, that we've found, the other aspect of this journey is that you find aspects of you that you didn't realize were there, Maybe you found that you've got new skills. Maybe you've come across the fact that you are quite inept at doing particular things, and your current employer or past employer or the people you're around don't realize the skill set that you actually have. It could be that you've neglected this very creative side to you that perhaps you didn't even realize you had. And it's about learning to embrace that side of you and allowing that part of creativity to flow. You might be doing a very serious job where you're number crunching all the time, but you're not allowing that creativity to flow, or you're not allowing yourself to flow yourself. You put your dreams on hold. Well, this is your opportunity as you're going into 2022 to face that and to embrace that and to go forward with strength and perseverance and love for yourself. And that's something that also you need to work on, All of us will have different aspects of past, present, future, parts of us that need that dream state to keep working, because it's with those dreams that we move forward, and it's with those dreams that we help ourselves to embrace challenging parts of our future and of our past, and they teach us different molds and different aspects of where we're going to go forward eventually. Now, one other major thing is sometimes you need clearance too. So 2021 will have lots of things where maybe somebody from your past, a past friend, a past acquaintance, someone that you perhaps worked with, so on, shows up, and unexpectedly the two of you connect, the two of you run paths, you cross paths. Sometimes that happens because there is energy that is stagnant and energy that needed to clear, and things that you needed to perhaps just get off your chest with each other. And that also has to happen so that the two of you can grow. And when those situations happen, you actually realize how stagnant one of you is in comparison to the other. One person might just stay in tune with their old selves. They haven't really grown, in a mature way, in a spiritual way. And sometimes you sort of reflect and realize you've gone the other direction. And, that friendship at one point must have been very, very important to you, but you realize you don't have many things in common anymore. There isn't any, mutual respect there anymore because you've outgrown each other. Your paths are different, your life expectations are different. And, it gets to a point where the two of you cross paths purely so you can say your goodbyes, and purely for you to mirror in yourself how that person has helped you some respects, but how now you need to move forward yourself. Coming into 2022, there is also that journey of love. Wow, love has been, where do you even start with this journey of love? Well, I've always said you have to start with a journey of self-love. That is a big one. And it's one that some of us still in 2021, as we're going into 2022, neglect. And we don't put in as much energy into that as we should. There are many of us still hiding. They're hiding from ourselves. They're hiding from each other. We're hiding from our families. We have these secret lives that some of our families don't recognize or don't understand. We're still doing things to please other people. We're not being our true, authentic selves. And by the way, I'm not mimicking, I'm not ridiculing, I'm not degrading anybody. I'm saying it's difficult. It's very difficult. And I hope and pray for those people that in 2022, they find their voice, they find their strength, they find their resilience to be who they want to be and be the energy around them and be strong and be resilient in who they are. I just hope and pray for them that they find that strength to do that, because that's not always easy to do. Now, 2022 is just around the corner. So, despite all the negative and sort of positive things that happen in 2021, you've also got to look at 2022 as your year of growth, your year of change, your year of, new beginnings, new chapters, new life episodes. And this is where, some people will embrace this head on, and some people will keep making the same routines, the same patterns, and definitely are not learning. But you have to just look at yourself. You have to reflect within your own bubble, and you have to look at your particular energy and your particular traits and focus on you. After all, this is about you. It's not about another person. So you have to look at what makes you tick, what makes you go forward, what things are you going to leave behind you in 2021 to allow yourself to grow, to allow yourself to heal, to allow yourself to have wisdom, and to allow yourself to be strong and to be vibrant and to be full of energy that allows only positive things and positive energy to resonate around you. What growth do you see yourself doing? What growth do you envisage? What growth do you see taking shape? And growth can happen in many, many forms, as we've said. Some of it is working on our inner selves and working on getting rid of shadow parts of ourselves, so that we've got that union between ourselves and the spirituality that connects us with each other. And sometimes people understand that and some people will not, And growth can also be in our own physical, dynamics too. Growth can be spiritually, you might have faced some enlightenment, might have done some shadow work, you might have done more meditation to help yourself to be calm, to help yourself to be clear, to help your chakras be in alignment, to help yourself around humanity more than anything. Quite a lot of us are still sort of not all together here. We're sort of vessels, but we're empty vessels. We're sort of seeing what's going on around us, but not helping the people around us that genuinely need that help. And that comes with growth, and that comes with wisdom as well. Helping those that are less fortunate than ourselves is a big mission that's here. And some of us do that beautifully, and some of us don't. We pretend that we're helping, but we're not. So this is a year where you can also face change. You can have a look at some of the aspects of you and think to yourself, what part of me do I need to change to help my fellow humanitarian side? Do I need to be more charitable? Now, charitable doesn't mean necessarily throwing your cash at someone. It could be that you just provide someone with your time. Maybe somebody's troubled. Maybe somebody's having a very difficult episode of their life, and you give them 5, 10, 15 minutes, an hour of your time, of your energy, of your space. Maybe you give them, a place to feel comfortable where they can open up and express their inner, demons, or inner conflict, inner wounds, inner pain, or joy. It can be lots of different aspects too. But are we doing that? Are we allowing ourselves to help our fellow person on this planet? Are we providing them with that time? And are we helping them to grow as much as we are as well? Now, 2022 is, coming up fast. Have a reflection time. Have a moment where you sit back and you look back and you think to yourself, this resonates with me, this doesn't. But yes, I remember these particular episodes, and I remember this particular chapter of my life. And I remember the things that are going to be with me forever. And some instances, some scenarios, they will just fizzle away. They will just warp away, because what was important at the time no longer becomes important after 6, 7 months, 4 months, 3 months, because the chapter is closed, the episode is closed, and some things don't resonate with you anymore. But the main thing is just looking back and reflecting and seeing the beautiful people that have come into our lives and the people that sadly we've lost, whether physically or mentally or emotionally. And those chapters, like I've said, have closed for a reason. And those chapters have closed with you also for a reason. But look at the opportunities that are ahead of you now. Look at the opportunities that are going to help you grow. Look at the opportunities that are going to help shape you and mold you and make you into a better person, into a better human being. That's what's important. The wisdom, the knowledge, the love, the care, the growth. Look at those chapters in 2022 that are ahead of you and, embrace it. Embrace it head on. Remember to be a humanitarian. Remember to, look after each other and yourself. Look after your self-love. Protect your heart. Protect those around you. Don't forget to be who you are. Be true. Be yourself. And let's hope 2022 is an amazing year. God bless. Send in your blessings wherever you are on your different journeys. And let's hope 2022 starts with positivity and starts with growth and starts with prosperity for all. God bless. Thanks for tuning in to Raise Your Vibes. This has been Miriam Khan, your host.